Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. And, well, originally I would have started this review by saying we've reached the end. Because originally, this review was the final review in Nickelodeon month. But, through some rearranging, there are actually two more I have to do. But they're shorter things to watch, so. Yeah. So we have Hey Arnold, the Jungle movie, which came out in 2017, 15 years after the end of Hey Arnold, but, well, sort of. They say 15 years, but, like, the show ended in 2004, so that's not 15 years. That's 12 years. 11 years. 13 years, actually. Now that I did the math in my head. But, yes, this was the conclusion that they were going to do as the big theatrical film. However, cheapness prevailed, and they ended up just producing a TV special called Arnold Saves His Neighborhood and making that the theatrical film. And I already reviewed that on the channel, but quick thoughts on that. That's what I think of that thing. It's not terrible, but it just doesn't work as a live action movie. The animation is probably worse than it was on the show, and it does not fit a theatrical film, in my opinion. This, however, should have been a theatrical film. The animation is good, and they did recast some actors because the voice actors have moved on, but like Ronald Smith or whatever his name is that did the original voice of Ronald Jamal Smith, whatever his name is, who was the original voice of Gerald, is in this, but he doesn't voice Gerald. Benjamin Lil Peanut Flores Jr., who modern kids would know from Game Shakers or that Fear Street trilogy, was the voice of Gerald in this, which he did a pretty good job, I'll say. But the story is a continuation of the journal, basically. And I was confused when I first saw the trailer when they came out with this, because I was under the impression it was actually going to take place 15 years later. Like, they were going to be adults. I had seen pictures where they looked like they were grown up, and they were going after Arnold's parents, which would make sense as a way for them to be able to just leave as they would be adults. But no, this actually takes place within the same time frame as the series, like a little bit after the events of the journal, I think. So, yeah, I do have a problem with canon, with the chronology here, because there's a bit of Arnold was a baby when they left, so they said he'd been gone for 9 years, 10 years. At the end of this, he goes into the 6th grade. They're all going into the 6th grade. That means they would be 11 years old, not 9 or 10 or whatever. 11. I'm just saying. But anyway, I was 12 because I was held back in 3rd grade. No fault of my own, I don't think. They just said I wasn't ready. Anyway, so the story is that Arnold learns about this contest on the last day of school, of all things, by Mr. Simmons, where the winners of this contest, this Habitat for Humanity thing, they get a free trip to San Lorenzo. So, of course, being that Arnold knows that's where his parents were last seen, he decides to do this whole thing, and eventually he wins. by some means I'll get to. And they get there, but it turns out that it wasn't exactly what they thought it was going to be. And we'll get to that. So, yes. So, right away, we start off in typical Hey Arnold fashion. We get well, first of all, we get this dream sequence that is fantastic, where Arnold has found his parents, but then they have to take off again, and they leave, and this big heart-shaped thing just comes, yeah. And the thing is, like, I understand now, and when I first watched this, I didn't get it, but watching this again, they obscure the faces of the parents, so you can't see what they look like. And keep in mind, when I first saw this, I hadn't seen the journal, so I'm like, oh, they just don't want to show what the parents look like. We'll reveal them at the end of the thing. But then, I haven't seen the journal, I'm like, oh, so they did show what they look like. Okay, so why are they doing this? Watching it now, it's to symbolize that Arnold can't get what he wants. They're right there, but he can't get to them. Like, he's right in front of him, but they're obscured. They're not, they're in his grasp, but he can't get to them, sort of thing. He wakes up and is in his room, and for any fan watching this after 15 years, and you're sitting there watching it, and you're like, we're here. We're in Arnold's room. That is not practical at all, because that sun will come through there and fry you like a piece of bacon. Which is ironic. And then he goes downstairs, and we see the tenants. And Oscar is once again asking for a sandwich. And, yeah. And then Arnold feeds his pig, Abner, bacon, to which Mr. Quinn replies with, so creepy. It's very creepy. Yeah, that's cannibalism, brother. That's cannibalism, man. Pig eating bacon, that's just weird. But yeah, and so then we get to school, the last day of school, which Gerald calls the best day of school, which when I was a kid, I'd have to agree. Best day of school was the last day of school. And then later he says the first day of school is the worst. Like, are you ready for the worst day of school, Arnold? You mean the first day of school? That's what I said. So yeah, so they get there and they find out about this trip. Arnold really wants to do this. Arnold and Gerald. Gerald faithfully by his side most of the time. But he wants to do this. And so they decide that they're going to create a brand new habitat for Monkey Man. Monkey Man! And so they do this. And I still don't like this. They put it all together so that he has a habitat. And all these homeless people come in and just tear it apart. And later they're all just seen going down the river. So he succeeded. They're sharing this thing. But, yeah, he failed in his eyes. But who saves the day? Who saves the day? It's Helga. It's Helga, because of course, she's filmed every single thing that's ever happened with Arnold. Of course she has. And so she takes this and, she lets Gerald know about it. And so they compile this video of all the good things, the good deeds that Arnold has done over the seasons of the show. And then they invite Arnold to the roof. And everyone is on there, and they show him this video. Everyone. Dino Spumoni, Monkey Man, the Stoop Kid. Everybody is there. And we get to see stories that we know from the show. Everyone is there, and that's the first time I cried in this. Because it's nostalgia. It's everything you remember from the show, and it's bringing that back. And it's, hey, remember this. Remember all the good stuff that Arnold's done over the years. It is kind of ruined by the twist later, but Mr. Simmons reveals that he showed this to the committee, and they won. Even though the deadline is done, they won, which is explained later. It kind of ruins this whole thing, but they're on a trip to San Lorenzo, and there is some subtlety here. It's not overdone. When everyone's saying goodbye, Mr. Simmons is saying goodbye to another man. And then I believe, Phoebe's parent, another student, Nadine, I think her name is. She has two moms. I think that's supposed to be a woman or it's a long-haired dude. One of the two. I couldn't tell. But it's subtlety. You don't have to overdo it. It's just there, you know. You know, he hugs this other guy, and the guy who does Mr. Simmons' voice is also gay in real life, so that was probably part of it. But it's subtly done. This is what you do. You don't need to put in a headline that we're going to have a gay lead. No, just put it in the movie. You don't need to tat it out. Okay? This is how you do it. Subtly. Not put it out there to sell this to that specific community. Just put it in there. It's well done. See, I'm not against representation if it's done right and not thrown out there to make money off of it. This is how it's done right. Okay? Anyway, so they get on their boat. They fly to San Lorenzo when they get on the boat. They get to San Lorenzo, and Arnold and Gerald run off right away. Try to find Eduardo, his parents' friends, and when they get to Eduardo's place, it's trashed. So they go to the boat, and wouldn't you know it, Eduardo, so we think, is their tour guide. So he and Arnold, they, start talking about the parents and everything, and devise a plan to try to rescue them without the knowledge of everyone else, which we kind of, when they're attacked by pirates. There's also various running jokes. I'm not going to go over all of them, but Eugene plumps up like a balloon. Harold's eating a bunch of food, and that's taking massive shit. Rhonda's hair keeps getting destroyed. Olga's a slut. Well, basically. Olga's there. Helga's sister, and she's basically flirting with every boy there, basically. I mean, when they need a distraction later, what does she do? Ooh! Come on. She's a floozy, this woman. No wonder she's so popular. Anyway. Yeah, basically. So, so they're attacked by what they say are pirates, and that causes them to have to scuttle the ship, scuttle the boat, and then they have to walk through all this stuff that we don't really get to see because this is all this dangerous stuff, and then there's a swamp, and it just cuts to them getting to their camp, and it's a trap, because it turns out that Eduardo is La Sombra. And if you're like I was when I first saw this, going, wait, so Eduardo was the bad guy the whole time? No, he explains. He goes, I am not Eduardo. I am La Sombra. Eduardo? With the mustache. Eduardo? Here, let me illustrate with a packet here. Eduardo La Sombra. Eduardo La Sombra. Eduardo La Sombra. Abraham Lincoln, and they said something here, I don't know what that was. Abraham Lincoln. Just, yeah. So this is La Sombra. And their plan is for Arnold to lead him to the Corazon, which we learned about in the jungle, in the journal, excuse me. And that will... So, Arnold is forced to take... is going to be forced to take La Sombra to the Corazon. They take off. And everyone hates Arnold right now. And then Gerald and Helga realize they need to help Arnold. At one point on the boat, before this I should mention, once again Helga tries to tell Arnold about her feelings. And it's much like the movie, he kind of just pushes it off. And here I think it's more well done, as he explains later. You tried to tell me, but I didn't want to hear it. And it's more like he was more focused on trying to find his parents than that. Although I don't, the movie outright was trying to tell you he didn't care about her. But I think they handled it much better here. But anyway, Helga and Gerald go after him, while the others devise a plan to escape, using Olga, of course, and they distract the guards, and they release the animal. They have Curly, crazy Curly. You have to local even for me, he says. And Curly releases all the animals and stuff, and they take rid of all the no-nonsense guards, only to open the door and realize they're bigger guards. And how are they saved? By Grandma, Grandpa, Big Bob, and Miriam. That's Helga's mom, his parents, and Arnold's grandparents. Because Abner, sensing that Eduardo was not who he says he was, jumps off the boat and swims and finds a way all the way back to New York to tell the grandparents about what's going on. Also, after not, after giving her feelings to Arnold and not getting anything in return, she rips up the pitcher and throws it in the river. But Brainy, jumps in and gets it and gives it back to her later. He's like, Brainy, I could hit you. And she kisses him and he's like, but he does talk for the first time. Helga. He talks. So he gives her that, which comes in handy later, which I have a problem with, we'll talk about. So, La Sombra, and with Arnold manages to get away with help from Helga and Gerald and get to the green-eyed people. And look, I don't understand. I understand that they're like people that live in the mountains, but why can't they speak English? Because they're speaking to them and they're like, I have no idea what they're saying. You can't have one of them that speaks English. I mean, we know that their parents are there, so that his parents are there, so you think that they would have taught at least one of the kids how to speak English. You know what I mean? But no, you have this little girl who's the daughter of the true leaders going, fatouche, the kui. It's just like, what? It's not till later that we get someone that can translate, but come on. I understand people who are going to speak other languages, but you got at least one of them that can speak English. A translator or something. You know what I mean? It's not till later we get someone that can translate, but yes. And so, because, and this is really only to draw out the time, I think, because when they explain to them what they have to do, because they don't speak their language, they have no idea what to do with the cortisone. They have pictures, but, we find out that Arnold's parents have been asleep this whole time because of the sleeping disease, which is a good idea. It works, not just, they were there, but they never left because they didn't find the cure. I do have an issue. We'll get to it. But, and the Sombra shows up, steals the cortisone, and Arnold, because he needs Arnold to open it because he's got this little medallion thingy. And, so they run across this rope bridge, and Helga and Joe try to chase, but the bridge breaks, and then the Sombra cuts the other side. Or it snaps. The other side snaps. And they hang in there. And so Arnold opens up the cortisone, and it's there. And then Arnold ends up fighting off with a little... You get a poison dart from somewhere. Is he gonna put... I don't know. There's a poison dart that comes from somewhere. I don't know where. It's not from the real Eduardo, who shows up later. It's just another poison dart that makes him fall. You think he's dead. Which, in my opinion, that should have been his death. He didn't need to come back again. Because it only serves to set up something that it was not necessary. The cortisone is there. We see Helen go over and look at it. And it really should have went down a different way. But she goes over, she looks at it. And then, the real Eduardo is here. And Helga calls him out and says, oh no, we were told this before. Are you the real Eduardo? He's saying. And then La Sombra is somehow still alive despite falling. And he takes the thing with the cortisone in it and is poisoned and falls. The poison gets him and he falls over again. And the cortisone comes with him. What should have been revealed next was that actually Helga swapped out the cortisone with her heart, her Arnold heart, sacrificing that for true love, and that she actually had the cortisone. But no, they decided to go in the most sappiest way ever with this. The cortisone is gone. It's gone. And so when they get back over using the stone bridge that was just there, they don't know what to do, and so they're like, we need the heart of gold, because they say that Arnold is chosen because he is the son of a volcano. Because remember from my journal review, he was born during a volcano eruption. Yeah. So he's the son of a volcano. Only he can save them, I guess? I don't know. It's contrived because they reveal they have the cure right there. So, if the cure is right there, and they need to disperse it, so why don't one of the dumbass kids take one of the cures, use it on Arnold's parents to free them, and then Arnold's parents can then do the thing with the cortisone, and yeah. Why did we need Arnold? But yes, there's no cortisone anymore, so what do we use? Helga's heart. No. It wouldn't work. The picture, so specifically they need the cortisone. Cortisone specifically. A stupid gold-lined heart, or whatever it's called, gold-plated heart, put in there. It's so cheesy. It's never worked. It's never worked for me. No, common sense dictates it wouldn't work that way. Because it's not the cortisone. Specifically, you need the cortisone, or it undermines the importance of that artifact to begin with. Right? Because that tells me that this whole time they were looking for this cortisone, and they had it. Thank God this whole special wasn't trying to find a cortisone first, because that would have been a big knee. But the whole thing was, oh, we need that. The cortisone is special, whatever. When they could have just used Helga's little heart thing. Any gold heart, which undermines that. I don't know. But, yeah, so puts Helga's gold heart thing in there, turns it. It activates the machine because, of course, it does. Everyone wakes up. Arnold's parents are there. And yes, it's a little bit weird. Like, they come in. Arnold comes in, looks at him. They wake up. And they go, hey, Arnold. Someone questioned how they recognize him. He's the only person there with a giant football head. Of course it's their son, but I think they would be more surprised, more happy to see him. Just, hey, Arnold. We get it. That's the name of the show. By the way, I should mention, they finally revealed Arnold's last name in this. And I remember the first time I watched it, it blew my mind because we have been told his last name the entire time, but it never clicked in our heads. We never got it. His name is Arnold Shortman. Hey there, Shortman. But keeping in mind that you find out in the journal that Grandpa is the dad's dad. So that means he's calling them by his own last name. Hey, Shortman. I don't know. It would make more sense if they were the mother's parents, but it works. The grandma jokes in this are pretty good, except for one at the end where she's like, who is that blonde-haired little boy anyway? I was like, okay, that was stupid. But, yeah, so they get to go home. Oh, no. I'm not done. We're not done yet. So, Helga goes back to get her Arnold heart. It does pop out, but her and Arnold, they have the confession, and he's like, I think you love me. She's like, what? No. And she's like, you tried to tell me, and I didn't want to hear it. And then they smooch. Finally, and this is done way better than how they tried to handle it in a theatrical film. But yes, and then Arnold wakes up and you think it's a dream, and wait a minute. This is like 2 movies now that done this. Splitting Atom and these came out like a year after each other. So, or 2 years apart, because I think Splitting Atom was 2015 and this was 2017. So 2 years apart, it's like, you did that again? But no, it's not a dream. They're really there. He gives the pig bacon again, Mr. Wynn. So very creepy. And then they go to school. They're studying 6th grade at 9 years old for some reason. And even 10 years old is not right. But the parents are like, hey, Arnold, we missed you already. It's like, okay, I get it. You've been away for a long time. And they're like, he's like, school gets done at 3:30. What school goes to 3:30? 2:45 or 3 o'clock? Never 3:30. But they're like, okay, we'll wait here. And I'm like, okay, Mr. Wynn, so very, very creepy. He's going to stand outside the... Okay, and that's how it ends. Overall, it's a good conclusion. There were some missed opportunities. I think maybe having the Corazon fall off the cliff and then using Helga's heart was way too tacky. Way too tacky. But anyway, yeah, overall, it's pretty good. So, what are your thoughts on Hey Arnold the Jungle Movie? Let me know in the comments, let me share, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.